Hello everyone, Infosec Pandey here, and welcome back to day 4 of our SOC Analyst 100 Days Learning Challenge. And today we are stepping into the world of villains and gonna cover some popular cyber threat landscape. Alright, so the cyber threat landscape. So today we are going to talk about hackers, cyber criminals, script kiddies, nation states, you name it. Basically, the bad guy we are trying to stop. Think of today as learning about your enemy before you enter battle. So we are going to be the Sanju vibe, right? So buckle up as we dive into the cyber threat landscape, where we will break down the topics like cyber threat actors, who is out there, cyber threat motives, what's driving these attacks, types of cyber attacks, how do they do it, and then we are going to wrapping up and understanding the threat. So let's get started. Cyber threat actors, who is out there? So when we say cyber threat actors, we are really talking about the bad guys of the internet, the hackers behind cyber attacks. But here are the thing, not all hackers are the same. Some are in it for money, some for politics, some for power, and some, well, just because they can. So let's break down the main categories. So number one, cyber criminal, the money motivated hackers. So uh, first up, cyber criminals motive, simple, money, money, money. So they always talk about the money. All right, so these are the digital mafia. They will do anything to get paid: ransomware, data theft, phishing scam, credit card fraud, you name it. So they also come with ransomware for locking down your files and demanding Bitcoin to give it back. And then phishing. So phishing are the fake emails or text trying to steal your login or bank detail. Credit card fraud, so buying or selling a stolen card on the dark web. So these are their main tactics, and their motives are money. So real world example, remember the ransomware gang reveal, they attacked companies, encrypted massive amount of data, and then demanded millions in ransom, straight up digital extortion. Then the second one is hacktivist, the political protesters. So next we got the hacktivist. So these are hackers with a cause. So they are not just doing it for money. They see themselves as digital protesters fighting governments, corporations, or institutions they think are corrupt or harmful. So they launch DDoS attack, flooding a site until it crashes, kind of like a digital sit-in website defacement. So they hack a site and replacing its homepage with their own protest message. Also, they do data leaks, exposing sensitive info to embrace a target. So real world example group anonymous. So if you heard about the anonymous, so they have hit governments and corporations with DDoS attack to make political statement. Basically, it is protest sign, but in code. Then the next one we got nation state actors or nation sponsored actors. So they are highly skilled, well funded hackers. So now we level up. Nation state actors are the big leagues. So these are hackers backed by governments, often linked to intelligence agencies or militaries. So their motives: espionage, political leverage, or even cyber warfare. So they comes with cyber espionage, spying on governments, militaries, or companies to steal secrets. Also, they come with Viper malware, so not stealing but straight up destroying data. Supply chain attacks, So hacking a third party vendor to sneak into bigger target. So while I'm recording this video, there is a supply chain attack going on the NPN component. So a lot of companies in the world affected with NPM packages. So real world examples, the infamous Stuxnet, the Stuxnet worm. So it's believed to be created by US and Israel government. So it sabotaged Iran's nuclear program and physically damaged their centrifuges. So that's the cyber warfare in action. Then we got the insider, the unlikely villains. So the wild card insiders. So these are employees, contractors, or anyone with access to your systems. Sometimes they are malicious, sometimes careless. Either way, they can cause real damage. So they perform data theft, stealing sensitive info to sell or use elsewhere. Accidental leaks, oops, so sent that confidential file to the wrong person. Sabotage, uh, disgruntled employee intentionally breaking systems. So real world examples, think about a former employee who leaves a company but sneaks out with the trade secrets and sell them to the competitors. So that's the insider threat, one not one. So that's the lineup: cybercriminals, hacktivists, nation state sponsored attacks, and insiders. So these are the different labels of dangers. As a SOC analyst, understanding who is out there is step one to defending against them, because you can't stop an enemy if you don't know what kind of enemy they are. Next one, we have cyber threat motives. So what's driving these attacks? So all right, we have met the main player in the cyber threat world, but here is the big question: why they doing it? So because at the end of the day, every attack has a motive. Let's break down what actually drives hackers to launch these cyber attacks. So the first one is financial gain. So this is the number one motive for the huge chunk of attacks: ransomware, credit card fraud, data theft. If there is a cash on the table, someone going for it, right? So think of it like digital bank robbery, only instead of ski mask and guns, it is malware and phishing emails, for example. So ransomware group like Reveal or Logbit making millions by locking up corporate network and demanding Bitcoin. So straight up organized crime just online. Then we have ideology and politics. So hacking for a cause. So then we have hacktivist. So these are not money driven, they are mission driven. So they hack to make a statement, disrupt institutions, or shine a light on something they believe is wrong. For example, group like Anonymous defacing website or launching DDoS attack against government or corporations they view as corrupt. So it's digital protest, not profit. Then we got the revenge, personal grudges. So some attacks are personal. Think insiders are ex employees who feel betrayed, overlooked, or just plain angry. So maybe they got fired and want revenge. Maybe they had a fight with management, or maybe they just want to hurt the company on their way out. For example, a disgruntled IT admin deleting account or stealing data before leaving. So sometimes the scariest threats are not strangers on the internet, they are people already inside. Next one, espionage and national security. So here is where the things get geopolitical. Nation state actors often hack for intelligence, leverage, or power. So they steal trade secret, spying on governments, disrupting uh, disrupting critical infrastructure. For example, the solar wind attack in 2020, where suspected nation State hackers compromised US government and Fortune 500 companies. So this was not about money, it was about espionage at scale. Then the final one is testing skill. So not every hacker is out for money, politics, or revenge. Some just want to test their skill, show off, or gain credibility in online communities. So it is like climbing a mountain just because it is there, except here the mountain is the corporate network. For example, a teenager breaking into NASA system just to prove their uh, identity, or they could. So yes, it is already happened. You go check the internet. Sometimes curiosity alone can cause massive damage. So these are the big five motives: money, ideology, revenge, espionage, and curiosity. So uh, here is a snip I attached, got from a company. So you can see the global study of large organization that were victim to a cyber attack. So motive behind cyber attacks: 41% ransomware, 21 are the insider threat, 26% geopolitical revenge or geopolitical motivated, and 26% competition, for 24% cyber war, and 20% angry user, and 11% motive unknown. So here is the takeaway: understanding why an attack happened is just as important as knowing how it happens. Because when you know the motive, you can better predict an attacker's next move. And that's what make you a stronger SOC analyst. Next one, the type of cyber attacks. Why do they do it? So, all right, we have met the threat actors, we know their motives. Now, let's answer the big question: how do they actually do it? What kind of attack are they launching to pull off their goals? So, following are some popular and uh, modern attack that we will cover in this section. So, the number one, phishing attack, then ransomware, then DDoS attack, SQL injection, malware, and Trojans. So, as a SOC analyst, these are the attacks you will see pop up again and again. So, let's break down the greatest hit for the cyber attack word. Number one, the phishing attack. So, the classic attack: attackers send email or message that looks legit, like your bank, your boss, or even a government agency, but it is all fake. The goal, so the goal is to trick you into heading over login, credit card detail, or other sensitive information. So here you can see the example. And here is another example. There is a fake website called mail.example.com, and here is the message. Most so this is almost certainly not a phishing site. You can trust us, but you can see here it is asking for your login, and uh, also you can see the after hovering the link, you can see the real website, evilsite.com. So SOC responses: you will be scanning for weird domain name, sketchy attachment, and user report. Email filter help, but the human eye, yours and the user's, is still critical. So, real world example: ever seen one of those emails saying your account is logged? Click here to reset your password. Yep, that's the phishing. Simple but deadly. So, the next one, the heavy hitter, ransomware. So, attackers break in, encrypt your file, and they say, pay us in Bitcoin. Here is the example. So they say, pay us in Bitcoin or kiss your data goodbye. Brutal, right? So SOC response: step one, isolate the infected system before it spreads. Step number two, incident response and restore the clean backup. And step number three, learn and learn and prevent the next one. So real world example: WannaCry in 2017. The hospitals, companies, governments all locked down by ransomware in just hours, and billions in damage. So and it is started from one vulnerability. The next we got the distributed denial of attack, the DDoS attack. So ever tried driving on a highway during rush hour? So that's DDoS in cyber form. Attackers flood a server with so much traffic it just can't handle it. The site crashes, user can't log in, business loss, money, and the SOC response mitigation tools like load balancers and some DDoS protection solution can help here so it doesn't jam on. Real world example, gaming server our favorite DDoS target. Gamers get salty and suddenly your favorite game is down because someone spammed it with bot traffic. So here you can see the operation of the DDoS attack. So this is attackers bot army or computers. So they send the malicious traffic to the internet and it goes to the target server and target server out of resource and service is offline. So real user will not be able to access these services. Next one we got SQL injection. So SQL injection is a classic attacker slip malicious code into database queries on poorly secured website. So if it works, they can still modify or even delete your data. And the SOC response look for unusual database queries, enforce parameterized queries, and keep web app patched. So basically log the backdoor before someone sneak in. So here you can see the SQL injection operation step by step. Hacker inside vulnerable SQLI driven website and inject malicious SQL query via input. And then this query goes to the database and hacker is granted the access to view the alter record or potentially act as database administrator. So, real world examples many early data breaches were caused by sloppy SQL vulnerabilities. It is old school but is still very much alive. Next one, the malware and the Trojans, the digital parasites, and how do they do it? Malware and Trojans. So finally, malware and Trojans, these are malicious program disguised as something legit. Click the wrong attachment, install the wrong free app, and boom, your system is infected. So they are steal data, open backdoor, or just wreak havoc. So you can see a Trojan horse or Trojan is a type of malware that is often disguised as legitimate software. So the malware is bundled with the legitimate software and it look real, right? So SOC response, SOC can use the anti-malware tool, regular scan, and the big one, user awareness training. Because honestly, most malware infections start with someone clicking on the wrong thing. And the real world example. So remember the old school, I love you, the virus email back in 2000. So the million clicked on it and it caused billion in damages, so all because people brought someone loved them. So whether it is phishing, ransomware, DDoS, SQL injection, or malware, attackers have plenty of tricks. As a SOC analyst, your role is to recognize the sign early and stop these attacks before they snowball. Think of yourself as a goalie in a soccer match. The attackers will keep shooting, but your job is to block. So, day four wrap up. And what next? So, today you got the full download on the cyber threat actor, cyber actors, and their motives and the type of attack they launch. So, types of attacks, types of attack they launch. So here is the big takeaway as a SOC analyst: understand who you are up against and how they operate is half the battle. The other half is staying sharp, spotting those attacks early and responding like a pro. So you are going to see these actors and attack type come on again and again in the real SOC work. Phishing email, insider risk, ransomware alert. So it's all part of the job. But the preparation and awareness, you won't get just survive, you will thrive. You are already one step closer to becoming a cybersecurity rock star. So now it's your turn. I want to hear from you. Which type of cyber threat actor do you think is the most dangerous? Or have you ever personally encountered one of these attackers out in the wild? Drop your thought in the comment below. I will be reading them. And hey, if you found this episode useful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss day 5, where we will dive into the Lockheed kill chain and actual tactics and technique attacker use. So until then, stay curious, stay vigilant, and keep leveling your cybersecurity game. See you in the next one.